Welcome to Duck Club Tuning and Finding the Sweet Spot. Grab a cup of coffee and like and subscribe.
Welcome back to Duck Club Tuning, Finding the Sweet Spot. Today I have the FATfreq X Effect Audio Quantum on my desk, and I've had this for several weeks. I already did an unboxing video. I did a little bit of a preview of me actually doing the testing, and the testing for this one takes 3 times as long. And that's because it has NOA modules. And the NOA modules, if you know FATfreq, sort of like the Grand Maestro. The Grand Maestro also has the ability to change the modules, pull these out, put these in, and it changes the way this sounds. And these are the original prototypes of the Soundstage modules that I got from FATfreq, Irvine, California at CanJam. Ivan and Yo were so nice to sell those to me when I was at CanJam so that I could bring them home before they even released. Now the Quantum is a 14.5 millimeter planar, but it's an incredibly fast planar. And they have a few different technologies going on in this, but the way that this is built, and I like to say that this is dB, so it's decibels. But the way they do this, it sort of looks like beats, but I prefer to say it's dB. Anyway, this is an aluminum shell or an aluminium shell, and they have this thing called a bass cannon in there as well that adds more bass to it, because that's what FATfreq is known for, is their bass. And that's where the NOA modules insert into the Quantum, the same as they do on the Grand Maestro. With that, let's get stuck into this because it's a mid-tier priced IEM, but it has endgame quality once you tune it. And we're going to get into what I was capable of doing with this. Bit of a tour around it. You can see the cable is quite nice. It's got that bronzy color to it. You can see the NOA modules that are inserted into here. They have very unique shells, like I just explained. It has an aluminum puck or aluminium that came with mine anyway. You can see it says FATfreq X Effect Audio Quantum, so aluminum puck. There's the modules that came with it, the other two, the Soundstage and is in it, and then the bass, and then the blue vocal module. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the modules as well. Here's the modules. So again, it's a 14.5 single planar magnetic driver, dual vented technology, NOA technology, and bass cannon technology. Notably, it is 38 ohms impedance. So they're using a low pass filter on this, and it is really hard to drive. So Ibezo DX320 Max Ti, I could turn this all the way up, and this puts out about a full watt of power. So these are a little bit power hungry. If you are somebody who listens at volume and you don't have a source that is, let's say, north of 500 milliwatts, you might want to pass on this IEM. But as long as you've got a source that pumps out enough energy, this is an excellent choice. And we're going to get into why. Here's the graph for all 3 of these modules. So those are the modules, by the way. So those are the bass modules. Those are the vocal modules in blue, and then those are the Soundstage modules. These are the traces in my squig link. So duckbloke.squig.link. If you go there, in red is the blue module. So this is the lowest bass. So this is the vocal module, and you can see it bumps up just here ever so slightly, but it's down in bass by about 1.5 2 dB versus the black module. And the black module is the one that's used for adding just more bass. But I really like the one that I've marked here in green, the Soundstage module, because the Soundstage module does this weird kick right here at 1K where it pulls in the Pina gain quite a bit. It has the same amount of bass at the sub bass and bass, and it glides into the mids the same, and it's pretty much the same out from 4K, but it sounds completely different. Graphs can lie. You can have graphs that overlay each other really closely, but things sound different, and this is a perfect example of how this NOA technology is changing the way this IEM characteristics are, but not changing the let's say the sound profile in squig all that much. Now we're going to look at the plot. So this is the 30 song listen where I put the PEQ array into my DAP, and I change the different PEQs while I'm listening to each song to find out which one sounds best. And you can see that the Soundstage module, which is in the middle, and then you got the blue module up here in the upper right, and then in the lower left, we've got the black bass module, and they sounded very different. You can see that the red line here, my PEQ 3.5 bass is where I wound up, and then the neutral position. And I thought it started out at a bass 2 warm 1. So this is where I started, this is where I wound up. In in my tuning as my first step before I started my listen and my fine tuning. And then on the blue vocal module, I actually went a little bit brighter, and it actually started out with less bass in the first place. So it needed more elevation in order to bring that out. But what I did on purpose on this one is I wanted it to focus on vocals, because that's what the blue module was for. So I didn't give it as much of a bass lift as I did the black module. So the black module wound up at a 4.25 bass and a neutral position. So it was a little bit warmer. And it also started out having more bass than the blue module. You can see this starts out at a bass 2. This starts out as a bass 1. So these are the 3 different tests that I had to run, like I was doing 3 completely different IEMs, because it does give you 3 completely different results. Here's my spider graphs, and it shows which sound best. So in first place, I put the Soundstage module, and that's the Soundstage module right there. You can see that it went from a 9.28 out of the box to a 9.71. So this elevated into the S tier. This is an S tier IEM once you apply PEQ for under $1,000. And that's rare. There's not many that do that. And this has the chops to do it, and it's a planar. One of the reasons is it's incredibly fast. It has really good texture. Even though it's one driver, right? It has incredible texture, and it takes to PEQ really, really well. What is notable about this? You can see the blue module. Where does it fall back? Well, you don't have that same slam and note weight, sub bass, bass feel, and lower mids that you do, let's say, when you add the bass module. And when you have the vocal module in, out of the box, it is slightly better for the upper treble and lower treble, a little bit better soundstage and detail than the black bass module. But I can tell you right now, you put the soundstage module in, everything gets better. Everything is rounded. So if you apply PEQ with the soundstage module, you don't have to worry about messing around with the blue module. You don't have to worry about messing around with the black module. You just use one and done. You use the Noah system with the bass cannon, and you apply those, and boom, you have yourself an S tier. This is the bar graph showing all 3 again. Up here, this is the soundstage module. We've got the black module and the blue module. You can see the vocals were the best performing between the black and the blue. On the blue module, you can see that the bass was slightly better here on the black module, but very similar in their final tuning. So they were high A tier after tuning with the blue module and the black module, but again, you get yourself into S tier by quite a bit. You get into that 9.71, which is above 9.5 by 0.21. So you are well and truly into S tier at $759. So the diminishing returns on this are pretty good compared to some of the other IEMs on the market. Here's all 3 of them overlaid to show you once again. The green one is the soundstage module. It is quite a bit better in the sub bass, bass feel. It is quite a bit better in the slam and note weight. It is quite a bit better in the layering, detail, and soundstage, and it is a little bit better in the texture and the tonality. So all around, put the soundstage modules in, use the PEQ on it, and bam, you've got yourself a budget endgame set from FATfreq. Where does it fit in the tiers? It is number 10 now. Here's all of the S tier plus. Here's the S tiers. There's more S tiers, but I'm only showing you the top 10. This fits in right here at $759. It's the only set in the top 10 that is below $1. The rest are like $2,000 and up. If you want a budget set that's going to get you into the S tier range, apply the PEQ to this. Make sure you get the soundstage modules and have at it, because this is an excellent IEM. And with that, this is the review for the Quantum. Please like and subscribe the channel. We're growing. If you have the Quantum, send me an email and I will mail this you the PEQ settings. You can try it for yourself. I'll give you all 3 of them. This is S tier after PEQ. It is an endgame IEM. And by the way, I started my own service. I will put a link. There's a Patreon site where you can look at the different services that I have. If you just want me to measure your IEM, it'll cost you $20. If you want and send it in, you got to pay for postage. If you want me to measure it and then make a PEQ for it, it'll cost you $40. If you want me to measure it and make several PEQs for it and send it back to you, it's going to cost you $50, and so on. So have a look at the list that I have there. People are already ordering this, sending their IEMs in to get started on this, and I hope to get some feedback from the community as well at the same time to show the value that they're getting out of the service. With that, like and subscribe. Duck Bloke out.